Sunday morning, Arizona. You're watching 12 News Today in AZ. I'm Allison Rodriguez. Well, in a matter of weeks, graduation ceremonies will be taking place all across our state. And then it's time to look for a career. So we're going to explain the job scams that will be targeting recent grads so you don't become a victim. Plus, pool season, it's almost here. Have fun and be safe. Skin cancer rates remain high. And there are mistakes too many people are making when it does come to skin protection. So we'll go over some of those. But first, here's a look at your weather impact forecast for your Sunday.
Clouds will begin to increase on Sunday, but despite those clouds, temperatures on their way up. In fact, Sunday will be the warmer of the 2 days this weekend, reaching a high of 95. Daytime highs will remain in the 90s through Tuesday before we see a pretty sharp drop off toward the latter half of the week. By Friday, our highs dropping down to 80 degrees. Here's our Sunday in Phoenix, and notice hour by hour, skies are going to be mostly cloudy at times, and the breeze is also going to kick up. Because we have the clouds, morning temperatures will actually start off a little bit warmer, right around 70 degrees. We're going to cross 90 at noon, so we're going to have a solid 7 to 8 hours during the afternoon, where temperatures will be 90 or above. Here is Sunday in Payson, little less windy there, several hours in the mid 70s. No rain falling from those clouds. It's still going to be a great day to be outside. And in Flagstaff, those temperatures peaking in the 60s.
Meantime, residents of one Arizona town are on edge, facing a very real chance that they could run out of water this summer. Town officials in Kearny sent notes to their residents telling them the town doesn't have enough water. 12 News journalist, we sent him over there. William Pitts explains what happened and how town officials are hoping to keep the water running.
Town officials have been trying to come up with something for months, but now, unless they find a solution fast, this town of 2,200 people will run out of water right in the middle of summer. The note on the door of City Hall lays it all out. The green bar is how much water Kearny uses. The purple line is how much water they have. When the green bar hits the purple line, that's it. They're out of water. And that will be 3 months from now.
We only flush once or twice a day. And it's Kearny, so after dark you can pee anywhere you want.
Jerry Kaufhold is throwing every idea he has out there.
I'm wearing shirts 2 days in a row just to cut my laundry in half.
It's not an exaggeration either. The town says the faucets will literally run dry for 2,200 people.
It is really tragic, and it's nobody's fault. The reality is there's just no water available for everybody's use.
Mayor Curtis Stacy is trying to figure out how to save his town.
I've learned more about water law than I ever wanted to know. It's not a challenge that I was looking to face.
The town of Kearny gets all of its water from the Gila River, and it's regulated by something called the Globe Equity Decree. It's a very old agreement that divides up the Gila River water between mining companies, Native American tribes, and towns. That means in a bad drought year, like now, Kearny gets its water cut. Kearny uses about 280 acre-feet of water. This year, they're only getting 77.
Well, the water will be in the ground. There will be water there. There will be water likely in the river. We just won't have a right to it.
Town officials are trying to fix up some old wells, but that won't be near enough water. No one in the town can use water for anything but drinking and sanitation. And Mayor Stacy is trying to convince the nearby mines to sign over some of their water.
We need to clear a path for that to happen, and that means everybody along this river would have to agree to a transfer of water.
That means any of the other groups that get water can veto that idea, even if the mine agrees. That leaves the entire town in limbo.
We're looking to get 50-gallon barrels so we can harvest rainwater.
They hope a good monsoon will help them get to the end of the year. If not, the clock is running, and the water won't be. William Pitts, 12 News.
Well, this Money Saving Monday, we are taking a look at the art of the side hustle. How to make more to help cover higher bills, or maybe just help you save for that summer vacation. Supplemental income can really help bridge that gap. So Rachel Caballero with True West Credit Union is joining us this morning to talk a little bit about this. So kind of walk us through what we should know about side hustles, because you hear a lot about it. Right away, my mind thinks, okay, Uber Eats or a ride share, but maybe what are some of those things we don't know?
Some of the things that you don't know is taking the hobbies that you love to do and turning them into something that you can make money on.
Oh, that's so true. Where would you go about looking into, okay, maybe I love to sew. How can I make that into a side hustle?
Find out what's popular right now, and then use your social media to promote it. Facebook Marketplace is free. You can go post all your stuff there, whether you crochet little plants that can hang somewhere or crochet, dish towels or something like that. You can always turn those hobbies into money.
Gosh, that's such a good idea. I mean, there are so many people who are paint, right, for a kind of calming effect or something like that. That would be a great idea. Provided it's not, stick figures, but if it's something looking really nice, you're right. Facebook Marketplace would be such a great place. So as far as making that little bit of extra money, right, to kind of help you bridge the gap here, what are some of the pitfalls then we may fall into when we start to get that extra income?
Well, as you know, a lot of people have a regular full-time job. So when they start getting into making those extra dollars, they get burnt out really fast. So that's a big one. Another big one is a lot of people get very excited to start a side hustle. And so they take their savings to go buy all the materials that they're going to need to make all the things. And so that actually takes away from their savings account. So that can be a huge pitfall if it's something pricey.
Yeah, very true as well. And then what do we need to know about kind of taking advantage then of making that extra money and not blowing it?
Yeah. So right now, with prices still increasing, having a side hustle sometimes is dependent or makes a difference in you being able to afford your rent, your groceries, your utilities, things like that. A lot of people use side hustles to get rid of their debt. So it's something that they just put straight towards debt or straight towards an emergency fund. So when you do get that side hustle, I recommend opening an additional savings account and save all of your money there so that it's not mixed in with your regular funds and you're not tempted to spend it.
Yeah, that's such a good point. I mean, because when you have your separate savings accounts, right, then you can really see, okay, here's what I'm working with my main job. I'm 9 to 5, right, kind of, so to speak, and then what your side hustle is bringing in and what you can do. This is interesting. The side hustles can do more harm than good. Is that what you're talking about? Maybe spending more to kind of get it all started up?
Absolutely.
Okay. And then managing multiple income streams. That can be difficult for people, especially maybe you're kind of have a couple of hobbies that you're good at, and maybe you're doing better on one service like Etsy, let's say, than you're doing on Marketplace, and where Marketplace is something else. How do you kind of keep all of those in check and track of them?
You need to manage it. It's going to be very, very important to manage those funds and keep track of where each one is coming in from, and then where you're spending out of. So making sure that you run it kind of like a budget. This is a budget for your side hustle, right?
Yeah, that's very, very true. Are there any side hustles that maybe you kind of don't recommend people do?
I mean, not necessarily. If
Okay.
it's something that you love and something you can make money off of, then get in there, but just start small.
Yeah, start small. You know what? Something interesting, and I'm just curious if you ever talk to people about this, is that hobby that you love to do right away, I think is such a good idea to do as your side hustle. But then what if it becomes not something that's kind of like a labor of love? Now you think of it as like, oh, now this is work that I have to do. How do you suggest you kind of still keep it fun?
Mix it up a little bit. Sit down and decide what you really love about it, and make sure that you still continue to doing the things that you love about it for personal gain. And then maybe you do different aspects for your side hustle.
Yeah, very true. Okay, True West Credit Union, you guys have a lot of services. Where can we go to learn more about them?
We are in the Valley at 8 locations at truewest.org. You can find us.
Okay, perfect. Rachel Caballero, thank you so much for being here.
We're sharing some of the best things that you can do, habits that are really small but can start right now. And once you build those habits on top of each other, it could save you and make a pretty big difference.
Yeah, 12 News journalist Trisha Hendricks here in studio now with us to go over these. And Trisha, a lot of them involve just those small lifestyle changes that we can make over time.
That's right. You got to start somewhere, right? And they're simple things. It doesn't have to be dramatic, you guys. Small, consistent changes are what actually move the needle when we're trying to tighten up our pocketbook. For millions of Americans, streaming their favorite show after a long day, it used to be a simple escape, right? But now that's even becoming a luxury. Yes, listen to this. A new Deloitte study finds 40% of Americans have cut back on entertainment subscriptions. And that's just in the past 3 months because money's too tight. The average household spends $69 a month on video streaming alone. I spoke with Experience Christina Roman, who shared some of the best ways to stop overspending on those small things that add up. what are some other tools that we can utilize to help us not overspend?
Having a budget, whether you use an Excel sheet, whether you use a budgeting tool that can help you to manage your expenses, checking your apps often. We always recommend monitoring your credit. So Experian offers free credit monitoring as well. And so that can help you to make sure that you're staying on track. You're not overcharging on your credit cards, because it'll tell you your balance has increased on this credit card. And that can just be a great way to check yourself and make sure that you're not going too crazy with your spending.
Yes, a little alert on your phone could make all the difference. So where are people pulling back right now? Well, a new CNBC and SurveyMonkey survey of nearly 3,500 adults show half are cutting back on dining out and groceries, half are delaying clothing and home goods purchased, and 42% are skipping personal care, think haircuts and manicures. According to that survey, 56% say that everyday life is less affordable than it was a year ago. 39% say they've had to use a credit card just to buy groceries. So yes, the financial squeeze is real. It's widespread. Experts say it's likely to persist, unfortunately. So the bestest defense in all of this, knowing exactly where your money's going, whether it's that Excel spreadsheet or maybe it's a budgeting app, because in this economy, every dollar counts.
There is a bike ride with a view, and not just any view, one where you can check out and enjoy beautiful artwork. You go around the town and you see like these great art pieces and these installations and these structures and these statues, and you're thinking, I wonder what the story is about that. Cycle the Arts, it is back for its 20th anniversary, where you can literally get on a bike and stop at some of the most unique, beautiful spots all over Scottsdale. 20th year. So we've got Nathan, who's with the city. We've got Katie with on the arts side. But Nathan, let's start with you. Where did this idea come from?
It came 20 years ago, like you said, from
20 years ago.
Us applying to the League of American Bicyclists to represent Scottsdale as a bicycle-friendly community.
Yeah.
So then, through inspiring to get us nominated for a bicycle-friendly community, this was an event that was generated to do that, and it's continued ever since. And we've been awarded a gold status with the American League of Bicyclists to represent as a bicycle-friendly community.
Oh my gosh, that's fantastic. So, Katie, we'll have 150 people who will be out there on their bikes, going all throughout Scottsdale, stopping at some of this beautiful art. Tell us more about that.
So there'll be 9 stops on this year's ride, at libraries and community centers, sports complexes. My favorite piece on the ride this year is called Desert Tracery. It's at the Arabian Library. When you look at the shape of it, you see it looks like the interior skeletal structure of a prickly pear cactus.
Yeah.
And then when you get up close, you see that it has words in it. So it represents the network of knowledge that libraries provide to a community. So each of these pieces have like very specific meanings, and you'll have the artist or some of my staff there to talk about each of the pieces along the ride.
That's such a great idea, because so often you pass by it, but you don't really get to appreciate it because you don't know the backstory or all the context. So you're really letting people be part of this community event, but almost immerse themselves in the community that they live in. That must be so special that you get to do that.
It's really exciting, and people love it. We have people who come back year after year after year to enjoy it. You get a swag bag with a t-shirt.
Okay, let's check it out.
We commission an artist every year to design custom artwork for the event. This year it's Ariana Enrique. So she's done a t-shirt, a reflective bag, and a sticker. And so over the years, people have collected these t-shirts. Some people have a collection of 20. So it's really exciting to see people come back year over year to enjoy this.
Okay, obviously this is a slam dunk. It's been going on for 20 years, Nathan. How can people get involved if they're interested? Are there still spots available? I know we're expanding from 100 to 150 bikers this year, right?
Yep, we wanted to go extra for the 20 year.
Yeah.
We still have spots available, so if anybody goes to scottsdale.gov and searches bike, they'll find the event and they can sign up on our website.
For people who live in and around Scottsdale, do they need to know about are there going to be road closures in the area with all of this going on, or no?
There's not going to be road closures. We're going to work.
Well, we're bike friendly, right? So I guess
friendly.
this is just typical.
We work mostly with our existing bike infrastructure to show that off a little bit too, as well as the art. So that they can get around the city on their bikes without having to close roads in order to do it.
Okay, so Katie, this is your life. I mean, art in and around Scottsdale. I know you were with Phoenix as well. Why do people really need to take advantage of this and sign up and be part of it?
It's really a way to immerse yourself in the culture of the city. Scottsdale Public Art has actually been around for 53 years, so it's built into the networking of the city, and this is a way to get closer to it and really appreciate it in a way that you can't any other way.
And there really are such beautiful bits and pieces of art all over. So now to really know it and understand it, what a great event. You guys, thank you so much. Get out there and you can sign up. There are still spots available. You're going to hear us talk a lot about this. Arizona has an initiative to improve literacy and school readiness. But for some families, the help their child needs early on is just out of reach.
State-funded early intervention programs only serve just really a small percentage of children. And if a child doesn't qualify, families can be left paying hundreds of dollars a month out of pocket.
Yep, that's the option that we've had to do. Nohelani Graff, she joins us now. Talk about that gap and it's impacting families and what advocates say needs to change.
Right, so we know that those early years are really critical for brain development. But Arizona actually has one of the strictest qualifying rates in the country to demonstrate a developmental delay to get kids help. I spoke with one mom who says even knowing the system wasn't enough to get her son the support he needed.
You work on it a lot and he has progressed.
For Griffin, learning looks like this: playing, exploring, and practicing his words.
What color is that? It's pink. It is pink.
That's a big one because getting him the help he needed to get here wasn't easy.
We had him evaluated through the early intervention program twice, specifically for speech language. He wasn't meeting the milestones that he should have when he was 1 year old and 2 years old.
Kirsten Pollitt works in early childhood policy at Children's Action Alliance. But as a mom, she says she ran into the same wall many Arizona families face.
Criteria for the early intervention program is you need a 50% delay in one or more areas in order to qualify for the program.
Even though Griffin was clearly behind in speech, he didn't meet that threshold.
Instead of saying he was hungry or a certain food that he wanted to eat, he would drag my husband or I to the pantry, say up, and then point to what he wanted.
So instead of state support, the cost fell on the family.
$400 a month that we paid for him to receive a 30-minute speech session. I know not a lot of families aren't able to do that.
Advocates say it's a statewide gap.
We serve less than 3% of infants and toddlers in the state.
Last year, about 16,000 children were referred for early intervention. Only about half were served. And missing that window can have lasting impacts. Speech is one of the biggest indicators of whether a child will be reading on grade level by 3rd grade. Programs through First Things First help fill some of those gaps, but their funding is shrinking.
We need to continue to work with the legislature and ask them to prioritize Arizona families, ask them to prioritize babies, toddlers, and preschoolers in the state.
You're my little...
For Kirsten, the answer was clear.
When they're in those really crucial years, every single second counts.
For others,
families really shouldn't have to choose between basic necessities and being able to find services for their child.
It's hard to find the words for a choice like that.
But that's perfectly okay.
So a little more perspective here. Arizona's delay eligibility, 50%. Most states are 33%. And the most inclusive, New York and Massachusetts, 25%. So kids qualify for help earlier before it becomes a severe impediment. As for that funding, they're working to expand the tobacco tax, which we told you about last week. And in the meantime, if your child needs support, you can request an evaluation through Arizona's early intervention program. I'm Nohelani Graff. That's your education impact. Go refill that coffee. The team is going to be right back with more. You're watching 12 News Today at AZ.
Looking ahead to Sunday, it will be the warmer but cloudier of the 2 days this weekend. Here's a look at our Sunday forecast across the state. Temperatures getting up to 95 degrees in Phoenix and even warmer down toward Gila Bend. 97 there, mid-90s also out in western Arizona. 70 at the Grand Canyon, 76 in Payson. Ideal hiking weather for the high country, even a beautiful 80 degrees in Sedona. But we also are going to begin to see those winds pick up again. Parts of the state under a wind advisory early in the day on Sunday. This actually starts at 3 o'clock in the morning and goes until 1 in the afternoon. It includes parts of Gila and Graham counties, extending down into Cochise and Pima counties. Winds are going to be blowing from the southeast, sustained at 25 to 30 miles per hour, with gusts up to 45 miles per hour. So it is going to be a windy start to the day. Here's a look at 9 a.m. and you can see those gusts approaching 40 down near Tucson and close to 30 around Safford and Globe, again from the southeast. Fast forward to 4 p.m. on Sunday and we'll pick up a few 25-mile-per-hour gusts around Prescott and Sedona, and you might even notice some breezy conditions in Winslow as well as Show Low as well. As we look ahead to Monday, the wind is going to pick up again up and down the Colorado River, but by Monday the winds will shift and become more southerly. Lighter winds expected here in the valley. Out at Chase Field Sunday, our first pitch is at 1:10. The roof will be closed and skies will be mostly cloudy. A little bit warmer during the afternoon. Those temperatures will be in the 90s as folks head into Chase Field. Maybe you're itching to get out to the pool on Sunday. We're going to have several hours with temperatures in the 90s, actually starting at noon. Hottest part of the day between 3 and 5. That's when we're going to be seeing those temps in the mid-90s, and we'll stay there till about 7 p.m. Despite the clouds, don't forget the sunscreen. That UV index is a 7. Burn time without sunscreen still 30 minutes, even though skies will be mostly cloudy. Then as we get into the first part of the week, we increase the UV index to a 9, reducing that burn time down to 20 minutes because it will be sunnier as we get toward Monday and Tuesday. Here's our high country 3-day forecast. Temperatures quite warm up in the high country despite the clouds. On Sunday, we'll reach 73 in the White Mountains, 80 in Sedona, and we'll stay pretty mild Monday and Tuesday. We'll see a sharper temperature drop off for the second half of next week. The 3-day forecast for the valley includes 90s, but after Wednesday, temperatures will start to drop, and we'll also see about a 10 to 20% chance for a couple showers. So here's a look at our valley 7-day forecast. Warm through Tuesday, down to 80 by Friday.
It's graduation season, and scammers, well, they're ready too. The recent graduates are ready, and so are those scammers, targeting college grads trying to start their careers. So we have an expert here. The man who knows all about it, Joe Ducey from the Better Business Bureau, talking about how some of these scams work. You know, we talk about older people all the time that seem to fall for scams. I mean, a lot of people fall for them, but college grads, you think that they would be like, no.
Yeah, you'd think so. And some of them maybe, but it's just that they're being targeted now. It's like, welcome to the real world, right, college grads? Here you are. You get scammed, you know, your money's going to be taken. Hey. You know, basically, these employment scams are basically the same overall, grad or not. It's basically you get approached online. It's some job that's like flexible, a lot of money. You get hired without really an interview. They do it by text. They send you a big check. They say send your money to somebody else to set up your remote office. You deposited your check. You didn't know it was bad until after you sent your money. So your money's gone, the check's there. In this case, they're tying it to schools. A couple examples here. They impersonated my college professor regarding the job I had applied to, then sent me a fake check which bounced. They asked me to make payments through Zelle to them, which I did, and this guy lost $500. I received an email to my university account, which is interesting, about a personal assistance job. They say they posted at my school. It's a flexible job where you will determine your work time. I'm unable to meet with you, the person says, for an interview because I'm currently in Australia with my mother who's battling cancer. That's the other thing. You're never going to meet with these people, right? You're never going to get an interview with them. So the warning signs about these scams, first of all, big pay, little work. that we talked about. They're going to promise all this money and very little work. Hired with no interview. It's all done by text. And you're asked to send money, which is what happens in these cases. So the scammers are targeting these college grads because they know that they're really desperate for jobs right now.
Yeah.
And so they're trying to tie them to these schools and to their professors. So I would say just be really concerned about that if you're looking for a job right now.
I mean, that sounds too good to be true, though, when you're reading it. Like, little work,
Yeah,
big
well,
pay.
doesn't
I mean,
sound
you're
great.
just like, I know. I'd be like, you know what? All right.
Okay, I'll sign up right here. The other thing I want to talk about is loan forgiveness. That's another thing that's happening. And because of all the stuff that went on with these loan repayment plans and the
Well, it's still
confusion over that.
confusing.
Yeah, my kids were all saying, I don't have to pay it back, do I? It's like, yeah, at some point you're going to have to. But these loan forgiveness scams basically say that not only can you get a lesser rate, but they're going to remove a lot of your loan. Well, these are people just getting out of school. So that's not going to happen. So really the key is, in these cases, in forgiveness scams, promises of debt removal is a big red flag. Upfront money, because in these cases, that's what they're going to try to get, either your upfront money or some kind of information from you. You may link a bank account.
Well, what is the upfront money going to be used for? If
Well,
they're trying to forgive my loan, what do they want the upfront money for?
The fees for the loan.
Oh.
Yeah, for the new loan that you're going to get. That's what they want to get. Yeah,
okay.
which is wrong. And you know what? In these cases, go through your FSA account, right? Go through your account. You have one. If you're a college grad and you have these loans, you've got an account. Go through them. You could see your loan provider there. You can try to refinance through them. That's the legitimate way to do that if you want to lower your rate. But just getting out of school, it's probably not going to happen. It's going to take a period of time before they're going to even probably want to listen to you about that.
It's just amazing how elaborate these people get.
Yeah.
Do you hear of them actually getting caught ever? Or is it just
very rarely?
Very rarely.
Yeah, in fact, I could point, I think about a year ago, do you remember there was a big raid on the place, I think it was in India, and they had that boiler room of scammers. There were like 35 people or something, which if you ever listen to these scammers, we usually call the scammers back because we get their numbers and call them and give them some grief. You can hear in the background all these people talking. So it's a big telemarketing place, and
Just
that's
all scammers.
But that's the one I can remember. So no, not often.
And then I would imagine if you are scammed and you fall for any of these scams, what's the first line or the first thing that you should do?
I think in this case, I would go to the Attorney General's office. I would, because they're doing a great job of going after some of these scams. I would file a complaint with the FTC because they're also doing that. And I'd go to joeknowsbetter.com, right? And let me know what's going on, because I think that's something that we'd like to look into.
Yeah, look into it, but the likelihood of getting the money back is still slim.
Yeah, slim, definitely.
Joe Ducey, it's always so good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too, man.
Yeah, and it's always just amazing to think, and I like that those are local. Those.
Some of these scams, yeah, a lot of these scams are local, right?
$500, and what was the other one?
The other one was about $2,000.
$2,000.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, $500. Like, I'd be.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah, I'd be mad at $100. $50, I'd be ticked off. Yeah.
Any amount of money taken this way is bad.
Exactly. Joe Ducey, thank you. We got a reminder: skin cancer. It is the most common form of cancer here in the U.S. So we have Dr. Alexander Sekulich with the City of Hope Cancer Center joining us this morning to talk about really preventing skin cancer. And so many people still, they go out there without sunblock, they go out there with protection. It's still surprising that people do that.
Yeah, and I think we all love nice weather. Nobody likes gloomy weather, and we're not here to be sunshine Grinches. but it is important to remember that too much of a good thing is not always a good thing. And when it comes to skin cancer, sunshine, ultraviolet light is really what matters. That combined with the skin color. The lighter the skin, the more sun exposure, the higher the risk. Multiply this over many years, and you can get a problem there.
So, when we're obviously people are going to be out there in the sun. You said the lighter skin. How long does it take before all of a sudden there's damage done?
That's a very interesting question. So there are different types of damage that can be done. One can be out there in one day and burn. We know that sunburns can be associated with higher risk for melanoma, a very serious skin cancer, which may manifest itself years or decades after that sunburn.
Oh, wow.
In fact, there are studies showing that one exposure to a tanning booth in a population increases detectably risk for melanoma down the road. Oh. Okay? But, ongoing sun exposure without sunburns contributes to other common skin cancers. Basal cell carcinoma, squamous cell carcinoma, and there's probably 4 or 5 million of those per year in this country treated.
So what would you say to the person, when they go to the dermatologist and they get these mole checks, how often should you do that?
I think it's important to have somebody look at your skin, but it's even more important to be self-aware, to check your own skin once a month, right? If you see something new, something different, typically we will talk about moles as something dangerous in terms of melanoma, but essentially any small spot that is not resolving in several weeks, and it's particularly in sun-exposed areas, it's probably good for somebody to take a look.
So let's talk about sunblock because, I was just at the store the other day looking at sunblock. You got options. You got a lot of options, and there's a lot of SPF. There's a lot of numbers out there. So what, throwing some SPF 45, is that good? 50, 25? What should you look for?
So even before one thinks about SPF, one should be thinking about what do I need to do before that SPF, right? And the best thing is sun avoidance. If you can be in the shade versus in the direct sun, it's much better to pick that.
Yeah.
If you can put a hat on, if you can put sunglasses on, if you can wear comfortable longer sleeves or pants, that is much better than sunscreen. But things that are not covered, American Academy of Dermatology suggests SPF 30 or higher. But it's important to highlight that you need to reapply. It does not last the entire day. And if you're going in and out of water or perspiring, hiking, doing outdoors activities, you should use water and sweat resistant sunscreen, which will not drip off.
So what about the lotions or the sprays? Is any one better than the other?
It's largely a matter of personal preference, but it's important to ensure that you have right coverage. If you're spraying and half of that is coming on your skin and half on the, on the chair, blowing the wind, it's not going to help you much.
All right, doctor. It's so good. What do you think is the most common mistake that people make? Just the biggest
most common
that you see.
Yeah, the most common mistake that people make is to say, well, it's not going to happen to me.
Yeah.
And then they come and see me or my colleagues.
Right. And then it's a whole other issue that you got to deal with.
Exactly.
All right, doctor, thank you. Such good stuff.
Thank you.
Well, remember when we told you about how recharge rooms are being implemented across the valley, making a really big difference with helping our first responders so they can be better at their jobs and live longer, healthier lives.
So our Troy Lynch thought, you know what? He's got to test it out himself. He's got to. He's here in the studio with us to tell us how it went. So how did it go?
You feel so amazing afterwards. Yeah, it can be a little brutal, especially in the cold plunge.
Yeah.
But you just think about the benefits that you're getting. And if you do this consistently, if you were in a job where you were a first responder, kind of putting your body on the line almost every single day, this is something that they don't necessarily want. They say they need. So after hearing all the benefits, obviously we want to get recharged as well. So they're letting me go through the circuit. Let's do this.
It is a 10-minute station. There'll be a grounding mat, full body red light immersion while you're wearing these Hulis Pro headsets. And these headsets play music, so guided meditation, while stimulating my vagus nerve.
What does that all do to your body?
So what it does to your body is it, A, is really good for your ATP production, your cellular energy. And sports uses it to reduce inflammation, okay? Speeds recovery.
All right, so now we have 20 minutes in the sauna to help detox the body.
As our bodies heat up, your heat shock proteins kick in. It's really good for your circulatory system. It's good for purging, sweating, detoxing.
So typically they have this sauna set anywhere between 140 to 150 degrees. And what's really cool about it too is it's not just red light. They can have multiple different kinds of light that do different things in this sauna.
When you're done with the shower, you climb in and you get into cold water.
Woo!
Yeah.
How cold are we talking?
Well, this one we set at 45 degrees.
We're supposed to be going in for about 3 minutes. Let's do this. It's nice and chilly. Okay.
It reduces inflammation, helps with recovery, right? It also helps your endorphin system, dopamine, serotonin, feel-good neurological benefits of like a 250% boost for like 2 to 3 hours.
Joe, when did it get to a point where you actually started enjoying the cold plunge?
So when you realize how good you're gonna feel when you get out, it makes it so much easier to get in.
How long have I been in here for?
You've been in for 10 seconds.
Don't stop it. Yeah, Joe the comedian right there. He said I went in for about 3 minutes. I wasn't exactly timing it, but Gilbert Fire is working on a policy to use the recharge rooms after coming back from fires, but they can also sign up anytime if they want to do a session or a circuit. And now other Valley cities have called Rich interested in these recharge rooms. So, and I have to say, I mean, every time I've done something like this, you feel so good afterwards. Yes, you end on the cold, but you feel amazing the next day.
Yeah, well, we're just talking about putting their bodies on the line for what they do to serve our community. This is just kind of a simple way to make sure they're in tip-top shape.
So other departments, you know, reaching out, they want to do this. I'd imagine, I mean, this isn't cheap, right?
It is not cheap, no. So all this equipment for these recharge rooms costs about $40,000. And so Rich can't donate all of these to all these different Valley departments that actually want it. It is spreading fast, but you know, these departments, they are definitely investing in this kind of money. And Rich actually says that this is going to save certain cities and these first responder departments money, because they spend so much money on these firefighters and police officers' medical bills just based off of what they experience out in the field. That $40,000 is just a drop in the bucket when it's compared to all the other bills that just keep piling up.
Well, yeah, because it's every bill for each person.
Exactly.
And this is just, you buy it
and
once.
you lower the bills with this kind of circuit.
Ongoing care for sure. All right, thank you so much, Troy.
So Arizona schools have long faced a challenge: how to get students ready for high demand STEM careers with very limited resources.
Yeah, but at one Valley school, students are proving you don't have to wait for solutions. You can actually build them.
Our Noelani graph shows us how one robotics team is turning that challenge into a trip to the world stage. Sounds like some talented students.
Yeah, this is a fun one, and it talks about ingenuity and grit of students also. The program at Great Hearts Glendale Prep is like the little robot that could, a small program that's built real success over the years. The students, they took on the funding problems, and they put the mechanics of community support to work, filling the gaps to launch them onto a national stage.
Writing code, printing parts, calculating ergonomics, all fundamental for the robotics club at Great Hearts Glendale Prep.
Make a design really quickly and then keep improving that design throughout the year.
Like many schools, they have an extra problem to solve: build a strong STEM program without strong funding.
It's challenging to keep it running just because it requires constant effort every single year.
But finding creative solutions is what gets their gears turning.
Robotics teaches you adaptability.
Students taking control, reaching out to sponsors and donors to fund new tools like a laser cutter to take their designs to the next level.
We're able to come up with an entire robot design within a day, build it in the next day, test it out in the third day, and realize all the mistakes they had made and redo that within a week.
They channeled that same tenacity into their tech.
Its name is Hekebolos. It's Greek, it means sharpshooter.
The metal Mustangs built,
We can shoot from anywhere.
tested,
Constantly on the mechanical side, it would shift and then it would be off.
and rebuilt their robot again and again, turning trial and error into a winning formula
We were able to perfect it and now it works flawlessly.
that won the state robotics championship and earned them a spot at Worlds.
I think if we work hard and we prepare enough, then we'll be able to go in and have fun and do some damage.
Funding the trip as critical as refining their robot. So the team is stepping up again, organizing sales, family game nights,
Fundraising is definitely the biggest hurdle that we've had this year.
leaning on the community to complete the formula that gets them onto the next stage to take a shot at a global opportunity.
And here's what's cool. The team pays it forward, too. They've actually created parts for other teams who don't have the tools that they've been able to buy and make with their machines. In the meantime, the Metal Mustangs head to Houston for Worlds at the end of the month for those World Championships, and you know we will be watching and cheering them on along the way. Guys.
Exactly. My gosh, they are so fantastic. No, hey, thank you so much. So as costs for everything from groceries to gas, I mean, they continue to go up. A lot of families in our state, we're feeling the pressure, right? And for so many, this is not just about making ends meet anymore. This is about trying to even get ahead without falling deeper into debt, which I know can feel really difficult. A personal finance expert, Jade Warshaw from The Ramsey Show, is joining us live this morning with some of these, Jade, simple, practical strategies to help us tackle our debt, stay on budget, and also stay the course. So thank you so much for joining us this morning. I'm excited to chat with you. First up,
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, first up, I want to ask you, families, they are feeling so stuck right now. I mean, gas, now we have to allot more money for almost double for what we're used to paying. And so that hurts a lot as well. So what would you tell families out there about where to start? What's that first step we should take?
Yeah, the first step is having a budget that actually works. A lot of people make a budget and they kind of set it and forget it and they never go back to it. And I say a good budget needs to be three things. It needs to be detailed, realistic, and flexible. It's detailed. That means you're putting everything on there that you could think to spend money on, everything from groceries to grandma's birthday. Of course, you're loading in all of your income coming in, and you're making sure that they're realistic numbers. You know, it's more expensive. So really saying, hey, grocery bill, I used to be able to pay $800 for groceries. Now it's $1,000. So making a realistic budget helps you stick to it, making sure that it's flexible. If something becomes more expensive, like say gas, I can pull from another category that's not as important and really make it balance out. Make sure that you're tracking your transactions daily. You can do that in my favorite budgeting app. It's called Every Dollar, but don't wait till you get to the end of the month, because once you're in the red, there's nothing you can do to fix it at the end of the month.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and on that note here, I mean, what are the biggest budgeting mistakes you see people making?
Yeah, you know, I think the biggest thing is they're not realistic and they don't include everything. People budget for the things they know that are important. I budget for my car note. I budget for rent. I budget for daycare. But then everything else is just a free for all. The rest of the money left over is treat yourself. And I think that Americans need to do a zero-based budget, which means I budget every single dollar of my paycheck. And I even plan for my fun spending. So I don't just say, oh, you know, I've got $500 left. That's a free for all. No, I go through and I say, out of that $500, $100 is for Target. You know, $50 is for kids' school lunch. And you really budget every single dollar so that you feel like you're in control of your money instead of your money controlling you.
Yeah, I love that idea, because I think you're right. I hear so many people will make a budget for the bills, right? Just what they see, but not that other spending. So when you come down to zero and you allot yourself, okay, here's my budget for fun, for my lattes, for my eating out, for whatever it is you want, that's included in everything. So you're getting the full picture. And so for many people, they're living, you know, paycheck to paycheck right now. It is really tough out there. What is that one change you would tell them to make today?
You really need to look and say, is the crunch that I'm feeling, is this a short-term problem or is this a long-term problem? Short-term means, hey, you know, I just need to maybe pick up a small side hustle. Long-term means, hey, I've been in the red for a long time. It's been tight for a long time. That may mean I need bigger changes. Maybe I need to consider moving from an expensive apartment down to a one-bedroom, less expensive apartment. Maybe I need to move to a cheaper part of town. Maybe I need to consider a career path that earns more money, right? So the biggest thing you can do is figure out, is this short-term or is this long-term?
Yeah, very true. And that'll give you an idea of how you need to proceed, you know, how to move forward. Okay, do I have to think of a career change where I have more, you know, possibilities to increase that income, or something else, you know? So I think that's a great point. So I want to ask you this too, because so many people are falling into debt. Credit card debt is very high right now, but your living expenses are also getting higher. How do you prioritize debt when everything is so expensive right now?
Yeah, if you're really up against it with paycheck to paycheck living, you're really having a hard time making ends meet, I suggest focusing on your four walls. And this is for somebody who feels like, I'm behind. I don't know if I can get my head above water. The number one thing you need to focus on is your rent and shelter. Pay that first. That's the first thing you need to pay: mortgage, rent, whatever your shelter is. After that, utilities. Make sure the heat and the AC stays on. After that, make sure you have food in the house. You got to eat. After that, transportation. And probably in a close fifth, for a lot of people, it's daycare. So those are the first 4 to 5 things that you need to focus on. And then after that, if there's more money, now we can start to add in those other priorities. But trust me, those 4 walls need to come first. It's going to give you a lot of peace and a lot of security.
Yeah, absolutely. The 4 to 5 walls and daycare. I mean, the fact that daycare is so expensive for so many people.
Yes.
It is just a whole other topic that we could talk about. It is insane. But what I do want to focus on here is that you are coming to the Valley next week. I want to briefly touch on that and what people can expect from the event and from you.
Yeah, next week we're going to be out there. We're going to be doing the Ramsey Show live. If you're familiar with the Ramsey Show, we do it on YouTube all the time, but we're going to be in your city April 21st. Yeah, at the Virginia G. Piper Repertory Theater. And when you come, I promise you, it is so much fun. We take live questions in the room. Nothing is off base. People leave that room feeling hope. They feel energized. But more importantly, we give them a 7-step plan called the Baby Steps that is going to help you know exactly where you need to start. You're going to be surrounded by people who are feeling the same things you're feeling, who have been in the same situations you've been in. And there is just nothing that is better for the soul at a time like this than that type of community.
Well, I think you're right when you're around so many people, because sometimes your own network, right? They're not in the same space. They're not ready to make money changes, rather. And you're ready to do that when you're around other people who are. It gets you excited about it, and you're just in a good space to really kick things off. All right, Jade Warshaw, personal finance expert with the Ramsey Show. Thank you so much for being here this morning, and we're excited to have you next week.
My pleasure. Thank you, Allison.
The clouds have arrived and temperatures this morning starting off in the 70s, but it's going to be a very warm afternoon despite those clouds. It's also going to be breezy, especially during the first half of the day. We'll cross 90 degrees by noon. We're going to stay there till about 7 o'clock in the evening, and temperatures will remain in the 90s here in the Valley through Tuesday. Pretty sharp drop off for the second half of the week, dropping down to 80 by Friday. Up in the mountains, we start off the week in the 60s.
Well, thank you so much for joining us on this Sunday morning. And remember to start your week and every morning with us on Today in AZ, starting at 4:26 a.m. and now streaming until 9 a.m. exclusively on 12+. Your mornings don't stop.
And now neither do we. Welcome to Today in AZ. 12 News Today in AZ keeps going.
Expanding to 9 a.m. on the 12+ streaming app.
More live weather.
More live traffic updates.
More breaking news. Live from 4:26 a.m. to 9.
12 News Today in AZ, now streaming until 9 a.m. on 12+.
Download on your TV and watch for free.